whether it be training concepts, and it was during this time that I was coming up with a lot of my DTP work that I was using on some professional bodybuilders. Some of those bodybuilders had like tennis elbow, a lot of inflammation in their bicep tendons and stuff like that, and once I started applying these movements to get around their injuries, they found that they were getting more development or more of a fullness, a fuller look and a more denser look to their muscles than they had before. So then that's how the DTP concept started to spread out during that time. And then I got offered the position as editor-in-chief at bodybuilding.com. So that's when I moved to Boise, Idaho, where the headquarters are there, and started working from out of their office. And then it was during that time the CEO, Ryan DeLuca of bodybuilding.com, wanted to get me the other side of the camera and the other side of the articles, and kind of put me in the spotlight, so to speak. As much as I hated that at the time, looking back in retrospect, I can't thank him enough, because now I'm able to travel and get to see people like you, instead of being stuck in the office, which is exactly how I liked it at the time. I wanted to be in front of the computer screen and reach out to that many people. But now actually interacting with so many of you is helping me become a better person, because now I'm able to better learn from you guys by interacting as opposed to through a computer screen, you know? So it gives me a different eye and a different view for bodybuilding.com, so I can give them ideas of what people want, you know? Because at the end of the day, our focus has never been how much money we can make from this, otherwise I'd be loaded, and believe me, I'm not. People think I get my free supplements and shit like that. I buy them just like everyone else, you know. Our goal is always to give the customer experience. If we start thinking success, then we're going to separate ourselves from everybody else. So we always think about the customer experience, number one. And you know, that's basically always been our focus, and it always will be. So I've always been very grateful to bodybuilding.com. As they have shown their loyalty to me, I will always show my loyalty to them. But I have ventured out into different areas now. What we're actually doing is we have partnered with bodybuilding.com with a company called Physique Elite, where now what several of us do, being myself, Neil Hill, Jim Stepani, and Rehan Jalali, we actually do now go around the world educating personal trainers, qualified personal trainers, to help increase their skill set, and not only increase their skill set, but allow them to get recognized for their hard work and their education and their inspiration. Because a lot of personal training qualifications you will do these days, you get your qualifications, and it's goodbye, you're kind of forgotten about. So now what we do is give you guys, or the trainers, a platform through our contacts of bodybuilding.com, through our social means of Physique Elite, and allow people to get, increase their skill set, increase their profile, or for some of them to travel overseas to train, or train, celebrity clients or whatever they want to pursue. So that's what we're doing there, and from my understanding, we've been speaking to Adrian Town here, who owns the gym. It's called The Gym on Orchard. So we'll be coming back here in November, myself and Neil Hill, where we'll be holding lectures here for personal trainers, but obviously we'll make our time valuable here to do open lectures, open talks, maybe a training camp. We will throw that out to you guys. If you tell us this is something that you want us to do, then we will do it. We always listen to you guys first. You want to do a weekend training camp with us, and that's exactly what we'll put up, So November, we'll be back. And again, while I was at bodybuilding.com, I wrote the book Body by Design. Now it's come out in paperback here, called the bodybuilding.com Guide to Your Best Body. I don't know, big title there. That wasn't my idea, that was the publisher's. So that has helped us to get out a little bit further. That's actually how I ended up in India, training a guy I'd never heard of called Hrithik Roshan, who had read that book. He'd read the book, he was told that he was going to be bedbound for 9 weeks because he'd slipped 2 discs, he had chondromyalgia in his knee, but he'd read the book and he had to start filming this action movie where he played a superhero, but he was far from feeling like a superhero. So that's when he contacted me to see what we could do. And that side of my life has been history for the past year and a half. So I've been living in India now, and such as the call and demand has been in India for fitness education, for transformation, and for trainers that can provide transformations like what we do, I've actually got like 6 trainers over there at the moment from Physique Elite that I've just flown over. And I've had 4 other trainers there in the past. So in the past year and a half, we've had 10 trainers in India training other actors over there through transformation. So it's it's going through a real good growth stage there in that regards. So now we are working with some of these guys to put on transformation contests. That's going to be starting in August, and we've partnered up with several big name companies over there, to get this publicized through the main publications, through cinemas even, and through like the largest online communities, obviously, such as bodybuilding.com. And now my latest venture has been to produce the foods that I've got out now called Nutrition by Design, that I selfishly came up with about just over two and a half years ago now, because I travel so much and I was sick and tired of just filling up half of my suitcase or my carry-on with Tupperware containers and Ziploc bags and foods, So, I've been working on that for a couple of years now. It's been bloody hard, I can tell you that much. It would have been easier for me to get into the supplement industry, that's for sure. However, this is something that I was passionate about, I wanted to put out there. And again, not with the focus of money, because, man, the minimal amount is made on per pot on one of those things. But I don't see it like that. I see everything as a success in the journey. I love the process of putting something out. As soon as I've put it out there, I kind of lose motivation in it, I let someone else handle that then. And then I work on to the next project, because if you focus on the end result all the time, when you get to that end result, what are you going to do? Stop? So a lot of the time, it's always good to just focus on the journey, the development, and once it's developed, you moved on to your next thing, Work on your strengths, and if that strengths are the development, don't work on the marketing or anything like that. That's not my strength, So that's really where everything has come from there. And obviously, a lot of you guys here would know me from the video training series on bodybuilding.com. So because I've put a lot of people through transformations, and I would always make it a habit of going through a transformation every year myself, because I used to be a competitive, natural, professional bodybuilder. I'd always like to test different training principles and nutritional principles and cardio principles, supplements or whatever, on my transformations every time. I would never go through the same transformation. I would never apply the same practicalities. Every time I wanted to teach, learn from myself and use myself as like a guinea pig, with the gym being my lab. So throughout that time, I found out that coming up with the very basics seemed to work. I never really went for the HIT, cardiovascular programs. I didn't go through carb cycling. I didn't go through the intermittent fasting, or if it fits your macros and stuff like that. I tried it all, and I just found that the basics that I went through always worked the best. And people would say, well, that's bullshit, that doesn't work, or that's bullshit, that doesn't work. Well, I'm sorry, but the results that I'm able to produce on myself and my clients, time after time after time after time, tells me that it does work. I don't care what studies say. I don't care if somebody in a lab in a white coat says, well, that training principle isn't going to work, or it doesn't matter if you take carbohydrates 2 minutes after your workout or 30 minutes after your workout, because it's not going to increase your growth hormone levels or whatever. The results speak for themselves. Success leads to clues. So that's why I find that it's always best to just use yourself as a guinea pig to see what works and what doesn't work, or if it's not on you, if you're a trainer, use it on your clients as well. You cannot give the perfect opinion until you've actually done it yourself, I believe. And that's why a lot of the trainers that we have on Physique Elite, not only do they have to be, you know, educated, but education doesn't come down to the be-all and end-all. You have to look the part as well. You've got to be your own shop window front if you're trying to sell yourself, you know. So, you know, we do recommend that all of our trainers go through a transformation themselves, so they're better to better relate to their clients and know exactly what they're going through. Just to give you an example, with all my clients that I work one-on-one with, which isn't many, not now, you know, like I haven't done personal training for years and years for one-on-one until this guy Riddick gave me a call. But what I will do with my clients when I eat exactly the same as them, identical, when they're going through a transformation or when they're putting on weight. So if they're putting on weight, I generally put on weight. If they lean out, I lean out, because I'm eating the same as them, whether they're 20 kilos lighter than me or whatever it may be. Because then it gives me a better understanding of what they're going through. And if, for instance, these guys have their own chefs, if they're eating a food that isn't supposed to, you know, be on their plate, or if it's the wrong amount, or if there's hidden butter in there, or if there's too much sauce, or there's carrots and sweet corn in there that shouldn't be in there, I know that this guy, my client, is eating the same stuff and he shouldn't be. Or, you know, if something's about to go wrong, I can stop it before it goes around wrong, because I'm eating the same stuff as he is, you know. So then there is no room for error. You know, and it does become an obsession for the client, because that's what I try to do, is create an obsession within the brain, you know. Of course, if you followed the transformation, you'll know when you're going through a diet, I will normally eradicate all dairy, I'll eradicate all fruits, all fats. You know, you're just getting your naturally occurring fats, whether it be from your steak or salmon or anything like that. And you know, I cut out the breads. But what I'm trying to do more than anything, not just from the physical aspect, I'm trying to create mental intensity and a mental obsession of this is just a single channel, and you can't deter and have any of this sort of stuff. But truth behold, that if you did have a little bit of fruit at the right time, and you did have a little bit of like bread at certain times instead of a different carbohydrates, it probably wouldn't make that much of a difference. It really wouldn't. But psychologically, it can. And that's what I try to do. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it properly. If you're going to suffer, you're going to suffer 110%. Because when you finish that transformation, I don't know how many people finish a transformation and then they eat this and they eat that and they eat absolutely everything. And everything that they've worked for over 12 weeks has gone in two, because they are just, you know, they just want to eat everything in sight. So what I do is eradicate absolutely everything, and then when they finish the transformation, they're allowed to have some fruits, they're allowed to have some nuts, they can have some bread, they can have some Greek yogurt. So now it doesn't feel like they're cheating. Even though they're not cheating, so now it feels like they're cheating, sorry, even though they're not cheating. So now, you know, with my client that, you know, he just finished a 12-week transformation 2 weeks ago, he's over here and he's eating the fruits and he's having the yogurt and he's having the toast in the morning, you know, he's having an egg yolk, which he wasn't allowed an egg yolk before. To him, this is amazing. He doesn't need to eat the cake. He doesn't need to eat the fried food that he wanted or what that he used to eat before, because to him now it feels like he's cheating, because all of this was absolutely eradicated through the 12 weeks. So a lot of it is psychological in that respect, but it works, because now he's able to speed up his metabolism through the fructose, lactose, the sugars, you know, in the dairy and fruits, and obviously increasing his testosterone and his focus now through the fats that he's having, and he's feeling that much better, and you know, and sane, and not hungry and craving and stuff like that. So that's the basic importance of doing something like that over 12 weeks. So I just want to explain myself on why I articulate certain things in that regards there. So what I'm going to do now, because like I could be rambling on and talking absolute bullshit and you don't want to hear any of this, you know. What I'm going to do now is just hand over this talk over to you guys, you know. just blurt out any sort of questions that you feel that you want to know, that's kind of confusing, or maybe, you've been told something that goes against the grain of what I said or whatever. And a lot of the time, I'm never going to be so bold and make brash statements to say, this person's program doesn't work, mine does. A lot of these programs do work. Nearly every program out there works to a certain extent, but, I just give you my view. I don't claim to be the most educated person, I don't claim to, know every science study and why it worked and whatever. I just know what works for my clients. And, if I'm able to gain amazing results where people say, that person's on steroids, that person's pictures got photoshopped, it tells me that I must be onto something. I must be doing something right. So that's why I never kind of listen too much to the haters, or if someone says you should try this application, because the worst thing that you can do when you're on a transformation or you're getting ready for a show or photo shoot or working towards your goals is listen to this expert, this expert, this expert, and this expert, because chances are you're going to get absolutely lost. Dorian Yates told me, the perfect analogy, where he said, you can't understand a lot of these gurus out there today getting prepped, or, a lot of these athletes getting prepped by gurus that have never even stepped on stage, who don't even look like they work out or that are bodybuilders. He said, basically, this is like going to South Africa without a guide, and you've never been to this country before, or throughout Africa. The chances of you getting lost is very likely. So that's the analogy that he uses, if that person has been there themselves, they're gonna have a kind of a better understanding on how to get you there. So anyway, like I said, the stupidest question is a question that isn't asked. So please go ahead and ask me whatever you want. Okay, so throw your hand up if anyone's got a question here. Don't be shy now. Has anyone got a question for me? Come on. Yeah.